Brian here. Welcome to the review of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. First things first that I want to cover is I am covering the base game. So I am not going to be talking about zombies. The way I'm kind of thinking about this, I mean, we're in, if I'm doing the math right, we're either on the cusp of or in 2024. So my goal is, once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I will open a Patreon and figure out the stuff with that. But if we get to that point where I'm able to get a certain amount of Patreons, we will be going ahead and doing the Call of Duty Advanced Warfare Zombies. But I'm not covering it today. I don't want to have to spend $60 on 4 maps and then turn around in a couple weeks and do the same for Black Ops 4. For Black Ops 4, that's Treyarch. We are covering zombies in that, especially since there's barely anything in Black Ops 4 to begin with. But I don't want to have to turn around and do that for Advanced Warfare when we have a story and we have multiplayer, which also multiplayer was not able to play because the game's old, but I will be going off of game mechanics and stuff like that through the story. So let's talk about story, let's talk about characters, and then let's talk about mechanics. So this is in the future. You are a soldier who is working for the United States military with your friend whose dad owns a private military, basically. You go off to fight in a battle, kind of like more of a policing action battle, where you and your friend are trying to take down this jet. What happens is your friend unfortunately dies, saving your life in that, and you lose your arm. So you go to his funeral, you press X or F or whatever to pay respects, and his dad tells you that he wants to recruit you. You kind of become his dad's surrogate son. His dad is played by a very famous person that we'll talk about later in the characters and how poorly this game aged for that. And you join his private military. You guys go through just kind of helping whatever government pays the highest to take out targets and stuff like that. And you get wind that one of the big terrorist threats that every government wants is out there. So you go after them, and about halfway through the game, you kill them. So you think that the story's over, but it actually turns out that the father was the villain the whole time. He wants to basically kind of take over military and take over the world and create a racist bomb. No joke. It's a bomb that targets minorities through gas and basically stop the world from warring. That kind of sounds like the logic of somebody else that we really can't talk about in this video, but it has to deal with what a lot of Call of Duty games already deal with. But yeah, so the the villain is the CEO who has made this bomb. So you have to go with your team, who actually initially you are betrayed by the captain initially, and then he comes back to join you to stop this fight. You guys get into some mech suits, and then you finish off the villain. So I will admit, I played Advanced Warfare a while ago. I just was holding off the review for you guys because I wanted to do this in order. But it's a very interesting story, to say the least. It's honestly pretty fun. I enjoyed it a lot compared to like some other games, stories for Call of Duty, which we'll get into next week. But it was actually very fun, and the characters are pretty interesting. The captain character kind of was like a Price ripoff, but also not, because he was more loyal to the villain than to your team until closer to the end. The people that you end up working with that are like the rebels, basically, they're pretty interesting. But that is the issue of this, is there's no real standout characters except for the villain. And the only reason why the villain is such a standout character is because he's played by Kevin Spacey. Which, back then, that was a big deal. That was him coming out of House of Cards, and like all his big stuff at that time. And then almost like a year later, everything came out about Kevin Spacey. But he put his heart and soul in this role, and it was great. And then also the main character is voiced by Troy Baker. He does not talk during missions, if I remember, but he does talk during cutscenes. And that is kind of an issue that I had with Ghosts and some other of the CODs, is that they do the silent protagonist to the point where it kind of is annoying. Which is why I liked Black Ops 1 and 2. Because you're actually interacting as the character, and in these you kind of don't. But yeah, like I said, really only standout character in this game was Kevin Spacey. But yeah, now let's talk about game mechanics. This is the first of the advanced movement era of Call of Duty. You get an exosuit, so you're able to slide around, double jump, do all this insane stuff with your exosuit. And it doesn't feel gimmicky yet. Black Ops 3, it did start feeling gimmicky. We'll get about that next week, like I said. But this one, it kind of felt fresh. I mean, they did just introduce sliding in Ghosts last year, but this one kind of advances the sliding, advances the wall running, stuff like that. You kind of get to feel almost like a machine in this, which is kind of cool. Not in a bad way, but like it flows pretty well. It did feel at times that the story did focus too much on using the advanced movement, but it wasn't as distracting as it is in later games for the advanced movement. I felt like the guns felt powerful in this game. Like, even like the sound effect of them shooting just made it feel so powerful. So yeah, so the story was good, just no memorable characters really, except for Kevin Spacey. And then the gameplay was alright. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below. It's that Nerd Ryan, signing